Coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio.
It's incredible. If you can tell, I'm kind of lost for words at the quality of the fish.
Very first night, very first time on Tazin, and my very first lake trout was a 36-pounder.
I had the opportunity to go to the new product showcase and actually vote on.
Broadcasting on the Sporting Journal Radio Network, wherever you get your podcasts, or watch on YouTube.
Fish on right now.
Well, we're here at the 2024 Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. And our guest now is Jeremy Smith. I fish, I hunt, and always will.
It's just to look out for your everyday hunter, angler, and trapper that's out there.
A Fish Hunt Forever production. This is Sporting Journal Radio. That's right. Welcome to the show. I'm Bret Amundson along with Dan Amundson. Dan, this is feels weird to be home.
I thought you were going to ask me how I was doing, and I was going to tell you not good.
Yeah. It's always sad flying home and then driving home from Tazin Lake Lodge.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Sorry, I had to step away to do something there.
I didn't step away to do it. I just did it right into the microphone.
No, I wasn't coughing. I was adjusting your audio levels, so you left me hanging up to dry there.
Sorry. How about now? Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It is always sad coming home from Tazin Lake Lodge, Dan, and one of the stops we made was in Rothsay at the Prairie Chicken there, which we've stopped at multiple times, I know. And I put that on Snapchat, and I got a message from Brian Winter, and he said, oh, yeah, I painted that chicken a couple times, and I kind of helped get it built through the Minnesota Prairie Chicken Society, and they actually, those signs, if you look close, you can see the signs kind of underneath the tail of that prairie chicken. There's some new signs. So if you're driving on 94, on your way to Fargo or on your way back from North Dakota, and you see the Rothsay exit, Take a couple minutes, stop right there just on the north or the west side of the interstate there. You'll see a giant prairie chicken, and they have updated the grounds there and put some new signs up. So looks good, Brian. Nice work. It's become kind of a place for us to stop and let Tiny out there, Dan.
Yeah, I think you just wanted a picture there once, and now you make us turn off there every time.
Well, I don't want to stop in town. Like, we go through Fargo, and I usually have to go to use the bathroom or let Tiny out or something. I don't like stopping in the city. So this is a good place just to stop and stretch our legs a little bit. So,
sure. Yeah, works out.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about our trip to Tazin up in Northwest Saskatchewan this week on the show. Also, Joe Henry was down at ICAST in Orlando. So we're going to talk about what people saw at ICAST, what the response has been, what some of the new products that have attracted attention, what those are. And while we were in Saskatchewan, Dan, Blake Johnnie was one of the guests at Tazin. He's from Alaska. We'll get his thoughts on how the trip went. They crushed. They caught a lot of big fish.
Yeah, they did. What'd they say? Well, he'll tell us, I guess.
Yeah. This is going really well.
Well, I don't. You're telling me this like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you told. You've shared all the information.
I just thought you might have some to add. You usually do.
Well, I don't know. Blake will tell us. I can't remember how many fish they caught.
I caught a lot.
Yeah.
All right. And then, I thought maybe you'd mention the double that they caught that we filmed and
that's right.
Some of the other things. So
it all kind of runs together, okay?
This is what happens when you spend 3 weeks on the road and it's your first day back and you're not quite all there yet. Like I'm not saying you, Dan, specifically, but come back from a trip like this and it takes you a couple of days to decompress and recover from
it's just taken you 50 years to come back from your first trip or what?
Ooh, wow. What are you?
Look at that one.
Are you going to be okay today, Dan? Are you feeling all right? You all right?
That's the best line I've ever had.
Wow. All right. So also Jeremy Hancock is one of the guides up at Tazin, and he was in the boat with Blake for that double and all those big fish. And he is just a fish hound. We're going to talk to him and what he likes about guiding, what he likes about fishing, and what he likes about Tazin Lake Lodge too coming up later in the show. But Dan, first, who are the sponsors this week?
Lake of the Woods Tourism. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world. Plan a trip for this summer at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. OnX Hunt. See private land boundaries, offline maps, and more. Take 20% off a new membership for this fall with code SJR20. Haybell Heights Campground and Resort. Fish Devil's Lake this summer at Haybell Heights. Learn more at haybellheights.com. Tazin Lake Lodge. Catch world record lake trout and giant pike at Saskatchewan's Tazin Lake. Learn more at tazinlake.com. Prairie Sportsman. You can watch new episodes anytime at the Prairie Sports and YouTube channel, or check your TV guide for air times. And Trails End Outfitters, trophy bear, walleye, and whitetails in Saskatchewan. Learn more at trailsendoutfitters.com.
Well, we ordered some new Tazin hoodies. I'm just going to show you this real quick. I thought they looked kind of cool. Underwater lake trout. Thought they'd be really neat to have on while we're filming Tazin TV up there, Dan. They showed up after we left.
Yeah, don't you just love the world these days where shipping is tough, manufacturing times are tough for... we've seen it in the fishing and hunting industry, and it is carrying over to the Fish Hunt Forever merchandise industry, too.
It's like we've ordered a bunch of stuff and it's been pretty good, but there was just a little glitch with the order that we put in with a different product, and it held up everything else and everything. But everything should be good to go now, and we're adding some new stuff to the store. It's kind of a small dish, but it's a good travel dish, and it's polar camel. So they're...
Wow.
It's a nice durable dish, easy to clean, that we've got in the store now for your furry friend.
Feathered friends?
I almost call them your feathered friends.
What can a bird drink out of that?
We also have new license plate holders, Dan. Look at that. And I put this on my Snapchat last night, and somebody already said they're going to order one and put it on their truck. So
nice.
I think that's...
You owe me one.
I do owe you one. Well, here you go. I'll give you this one right here. We got some new hoodies. Well, if you want this Tazin hoodie too, we'll have some of these in the store as well too. Find that at fishhuntforever.com. And I want to give credit where credit's due, Dan.
Okay.
People bash North Dakota a lot as being flat. And I always say, once you get west of the Missouri River, you get out there into the Badlands, it's beautiful. It's nothing like eastern North Dakota. It's the same as South Dakota, honestly, too. The eastern part of the Dakotas, both heavy ag, Red River Valley, Lake Agassiz region. You go west of the river and things start to change a little bit. But northern, like north central North Dakota, and you got the Turtle Mountains we talk about once in a while on this show, but you get around that Minot area and up by the border. We came into that portal entry this year coming back from Canada. That area is really cool.
Well, it's still all river country. I think people kind of think the Missouri River just kind of cuts up to Bismarck, and then I don't know if they just think it ends there or something, but it snakes its way up north and then back to the west to Lake Sakakawea. And that country shows it. It's river bluff country. There's almost every stretch along the Missouri River I've ever seen is cool, and that area holds up to that.
Yeah, and you get up there and you're talking Souris River, and there's some big wildlife refuges and just some big hills and just neat country. And even just driving around Minot, when we went into town went to the bank and got some food and stuff like that. And, there's parts of it where you're driving uphill. It almost felt like, it's not the same, but it almost felt like driving through Duluth in a sense. Like some of the hills that you were driving up actually had some, they were actually fairly steep going up there. So it doesn't seem like a North Dakota town, but it probably gets lumped into the flatness stereotype that North Dakota has in other parts of the world. We were coming back from Tazin Lake Lodge, of course. Dan, what do you think your favorite moment this year from the trip was?
Well, it's... every time you go on a trip, you always want to have something that's not the obvious answer when you get called on for this question. But it's the big lake trout. It has to be. That's why we go up there.
Fish, yeah.
It's the pinnacle of the entire Tazin Lake experience is getting to catch and hold the biggest lake trout you've ever seen in your life, and potentially the biggest lake trout you will ever see in your life, because there are not many places you get to go to catch big lakers like that. Even, there's places to go to catch big fish, don't get me wrong, but there's something about the girth of these fish. They have so much forage. We caught a couple fish that were trying to regurgitate some food that they had in their mouth during the fight, and the one I caught had 20 inches of lake trout inside of its mouth. So think about that. That's a 20-inch fish. Like, picture a 20-inch walleye. That's what this fish was spitting up. And then I think it happened again, and I think it was 17 inches or something. I'm not sure I measured it or we measured it. I tried to give it to Kurt, and he didn't want it. So, but it's like, just these fish just eat whatever they want. They eat themselves. They eat burbot. They eat whitefish. They can just kind of swim around like a big whale with their mouth open and just gorge themselves. Nothing else is going to eat them once they're that size. So all they have to do is eat, drink, and be merry, I guess.
New season of Tazin TV is in the can. Actually going to start editing and try to put out some episodes right away from that. So check out the Tazin Lake Lodge YouTube channel. This year, Dan, on our flight out, you and I and Tiny had our own airplane coming out.
Yeah, we flew it ourselves.
Pilot gave us a pretty good view of the Athabasca sand dunes and the William River that flows up through there. It's such a cool country. And I don't think either one of us realized just how big some of those sand dunes are.
No, he dropped us pretty low. I didn't see exactly what our altitude was, but dropped us pretty low, so we got good perspective of the dunes, and they're huge. Like, you're not just walking up and around them. It looks like an area there should just be camels and whatnot going through there. And we actually saw tracks, and we kind of looked at each other. The pilot and I looked at each other like, what do you suppose is using this? Because it's sand. But we also got a pretty cool view of it on the... Well, for what? Why is a moose is wandering around the sand? But we also got a pretty cool flight on the way in too. Don't forget.
Yeah.
That pilot, he flies for that company in his spare time, so he just likes to have fun, and so he took us a little out of the way to show us some cool things. And
he's the medevac pilot.
Yeah,
something.
he flies air ambulance there.
Yeah.
So he does these trips for fun, and he had fun with it. He's, hey, look at this part of the river. I'm full turnover. Then, oh, look at that outside the right side of the plane, and just whips over there and just showing some of the lady in the front of that plane. She had never been on a float plane before, so he kind of gave her a show for that. And two good pilots that have fun with their jobs and made it fun for us, even when we were leaving.
Those Athabasca sand dunes, supposedly they're going to film parts of Dune 3 there. And originally, I think they were supposed to do it this summer. Now it may have been pushed back. I don't know what's going on with it. But
I don't know really why that makes sense to go up there and do that, but good for them.
Yeah, neat area. All right, couple things I want to note real quick. Prairie Sportsman this Saturday on TPT Life in the Twin Cities. The show airs at 3:30 p.m. We'll have Jennifer Pudence and ice fishing up at the Northwest Angle. And that episode is also going to be on repeat Wednesday on the Minnesota channel as well. It airs 4 times at midnight, 6 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. Actually, Prairie Sportsman airs at least 8 times on the Minnesota channel each week, each Monday and Wednesday, 4 times at midnight, noon, 6 a, and 6 p. And we also have the Lake of the Woods Remembrances with Lance Peterson and Warriors and Walleye. So a couple of Lake of the Woods episodes you'll be able to watch on the Minnesota channel. We'll get an update about Lake of the Woods coming up later in the show with Joe Henry, the MTT tournament. Dan, just huge bags. My gosh. We'll find out more about that. Find out more about that coming up. Plus, Jeremy Hancock, who guided at Tazin Lake Lodge and Trails End Outfitters. By the way, he did some bear guiding this year. And also Blake Johnnie from Alaska, who fished and just caught some giant lake trout this year at Tazin. All those guys on the way. This is brought to you by Trails End Outfitters on Tobin Lake, offering spring black bear hunting, fall whitetail, and guided fishing on Tobin Lake and Ice House Rentals. You can rent the lodge, bring your own boat during the summer as well to chase big walleyes and pike. Learn more at trailsendoutfitters.com. Sick of eating tag soup? It's time to own your odds this fall with OnX Hunt, the GPS hunting app trusted by millions of hunters. Now you'll have access to nationwide public and private land ownership information, waypoints, optimal win for each stand, tracks, and much more. All at your fingertips. Go to onxmaps.com/hunt and use code SJR20 at checkout to receive 20% off your membership. That's code SJR20. All right, this is Sporting Journal Radio. We're on the road at Tazin Lake Lodge once again in this beautiful northern Saskatchewan setting. It's been a great trip up here, and right now we're with one of the guests from Alaska, Blake Johnnie. Blake, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks
Good.
for having me.
You betcha. How's the trip gone for you?
It was as advertised, I should say.
Sure.
It's gone great. Yeah, absolutely great. Almost 5 full days of fun and adventure, and it's been some ups and downs, but a lot more ups. That's for sure.
I mean, you guys crushed it this week.
We did. We were very, very fortunate. I think we ended up between me and my buddy Steve. I think we boated 10 lake trout over 40 inches.
That's amazing.
And a couple that broke the 45-pound mark too.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. It's been a great trip.
And today, I mean, we were out there one night. I think you guys caught 4 over 40 inches, and we got some of them on camera. You doubled up, which was insane.
We did double up, yeah.
And then today, your last day, you caught 2 over 45 inches.
That's correct. The last day, kind of you get ready to go. You know, the the dream is over, so to speak, you think, and then you wake up, you have another half day of fishing left to go. And yeah, just run out there for, you know, a few hours. And we boated 4 in about the first 2 hours we were out there, and 2 of those were over 45 inches as well. Just couldn't ask for a better ending.
That's crazy.
It was already, the trip was already premier besides that, but couldn't ask for a better way to ice the cake there.
One of those was 45 by 28.5, which is a huge girth.
Correct.
But you had one yesterday that was bigger?
45.5 by 29.
By 29.
So estimated 48 pounds. It was a giant. It's what you come here for sure.
How did you find out about Tazin?
Well, I live up in Alaska, work up there on the North Slope there, and I heard it from a buddy of mine at work probably about 6 or 7 years ago, because we talk Lakers. You know, we fish Lakers up there in Alaska too, and so, you know, we'll swap stories at work or whatnot. And anyways, we're talking about Canada, and he said, "You ever heard this place Tazin Lake?" I said, "I haven't." So he showed me actually Tazin TV and a couple other videos from out here, and I was just hooked ever since then. Kind of been watching for the last couple of years. And 2 years ago, I said, "Man, we got to pull the trigger and make it happen." So me and a few other buddies booked a trip, and here we are. And great decision. Hopefully, be back sometime.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was there anything, you know, when you watched the videos, the Tazin TV series, was there anything that said that made it click, going, "Oh yeah, we got to do this"?
To be honest with you, Brett, just the size of the fish, and just looking at the grounds and you guys and the commentary, it looked a lot like something that I needed to do as a fisherman. You know, growing up in Alaska, fishing Alaska, we have big lake trout, but nothing like this. And it was just the video, the experience. I've watched several of the podcasts. Like I said, Tazin TV for several years. I've followed on YouTube. So one thing, the whole experience looked great.
Yeah.
And the fish, the size of the fish, and just wanting that adventure and a shot at that. And like I said, it delivered and then some.
It's
sure.
Always the fish. I mean, the fish.
Always. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't, right?
Yeah. No, we don't take offense to that. The fish sell it for sure. You see the fish, and then you see everything else. You see the scenery. You see the lake. I mean, and you're in Alaska, so you're dealing with beautiful scenery all the time. Most people that come here, they don't get to look at Alaska scenery or northern Saskatchewan scenery very much. But did it match what you expected when you got here?
It did. It did. I expected beauty and pristine wilderness, and it definitely delivered. It definitely delivered. It's pretty. The water, the surrounding environment, the wildlife, like I said, the grounds, especially the fish, it definitely matched what I thought it was going to be. Like I said, just knowing a little bit about northern Canada, I've been through here a couple times before, never northern Saskatchewan, but a little farther out west. I knew I was in for a treat and a scenic view, and it definitely delivered, for sure.
Sometimes people see our pictures or the videos, and they say the lake trout aren't that big. Like, they don't believe it, or they think it's
That's
Photoshop.
funny you say that, yeah.
Have you heard that?
Yeah. There was, like I said, even the couple of years I've been following you guys, there's been times where I'm like, there's got to be something. There's no way. Some of the fish you see roll out of this net into the boat with the guides and whatnot. But I can say firsthand now that it's true. Giants are real. I've seen them. I've held several of them now. It is as advertised. You have to see it to believe it, though. I will say that. It's incredible. If you can tell, I'm kind of lost for words at the quality of the fish. They've been great.
We get accused of Photoshop a lot.
And that's what I mean. I can believe that's happened.
And full disclosure, we do use Photoshop. We use it to edit the photos to make them a little more color, or bring out, if it's bright and sunny or dark, we lighten them up. We use a wide angle lens sometimes, so that can enhance the size of the fish, but we never lie about the size. That's why we always try to put the length in there. And a lot of times we're filming the bump board when we film it too, just to prove it that, hey, we're not lying about these fish up here.
Oh, right. Yeah. My guide, Jeremy, great guide. Like I said, we were with him the whole time. He put us on all those big fish. And he asked me several times, get a picture of this fish on the board, so you can tell your buddies. So I do have a couple of those to take home as well, along, with many other pictures.
Because, I mean, this will be a shock to everybody, but not everything you see on the internet is true. Sometimes people are
You're
lying
kidding.
about stuff.
You're kidding.
But yeah, I'm a French model. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can tell. I can tell that was your past career there.
So, I mean, that's why we try to film everything and show it, because we're never going to lie about the length of the fish up here. But the whole experience, you know, it's kind of the whole, to me, it's the whole thing. It's the adventure, it's the flight in, you know, it's
Absolutely.
being here, it's the people that are here, it's this setting, it's the wildlife. And of course, it always comes back to the fish.
Absolutely. And to add to that, I didn't talk about the flight in and the whole journey to get here, coming from Anchorage, Alaska, where we left home. It was quite the jaunt for us. Couple planes, long road trip from Edmonton up to Fort McMurray. But that's part of the adventure, right? And it was all worth it. Again, the float plane ride in was beautiful, very scenic. And yeah, like I said, when we landed on that lake and just looked over here and saw everybody, we said, "Oh, here we are. We've been waiting for this," and we knew, and it delivered.
Well,
It
you
was
know,
great.
if this place was easy to get to, it wouldn't be as special as
Well,
it is.
that's how we feel up
know?
at home too.
So
It's the remoteness is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
we didn't talk about the double. So tell me, I tell people when they catch two big lake trout like that at the same time, it can be pure chaos.
Yes, absolutely. I believe I hooked one, and then about my buddy started reeling his line in, and it was maybe 3 or 4 clicks, and bam, he hooked up. So then, you know, pandemonium hit. We didn't know if we had enough nets. We definitely didn't. We saw you guys out there on the lake, and you guys came over and gave us a hand, threw us a net. So the circus went round and around and around, but our guy Jeremy again did a great job. He foreman the whole job, and we ended up netting both those fish. Got some great pictures and clean releases on both. It was wild. Something I'll never forget for sure.
It's pretty cool. And I mean, I'm sure Jeremy could have handled it on his own without us being there to help out, because he's pretty solid.
Yeah, he is.
But it is nice to have a helping hand like that.
Absolutely. Well, it was just kind of dumb luck you guys were out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we made it happen. We all made it happen. It was a team effort for sure.
Yours was nice. Steve's was a tank.
Yep.
When you saw the first big lake trout come out of the water and got your eyes on the first big one, what was your thought?
They're real. They are real. I think the biggest lake trout, you know, fished them most of my life in Alaska, the biggest I'd ever hit was 38 inches, but never girth like these. And that lake trout, I think that one particularly hit 43 inches, and the girth was 27. So it had, you know, the big belly, just again, the girth. And it was just, it filled the net. And just watching Jeremy, you know, take the hook out and then just grabbing that fish and rolling it out into the boat and showing us, it was just a complete wow moment. Again, they do exist, they're real. And it was just an epic first night.
And then it just kind of kept continuing.
And it just kept getting better. The dream hasn't stopped yet. It's been incredible.
So if somebody said, "Hey, I've been thinking about this trip to Tazin, you went there," what are you going to tell them?
Do it. Absolutely do it. It's the whole experience. Again, the float plane ride in, the crew, the staff working here at the lodge, the guides, everybody involved has made it an incredible trip. You'll have fun no matter what you do. You'll enjoy the scenery. And then once you hit that first fish and you bring that first fish in, a big giant laker, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's something you kind of have to do to believe.
Last question for you then. What would a highlight, you know, when you go back home and you think back, you know, you caught some big fish, you had the double, this and that. What's probably the first thing you're going to tell somebody about this trip?
Well, you want me to be honest?
Yeah, well,
it's
yeah.
probably going to be my 48-pound lake trout. That was my top fish. Again, I think it was 45 and a half by 29-inch girth, and then so I have a memory to last forever. I might get that one mounted.
Tell me about catching that fish.
We were doing a nice, pretty long run, trolling run that we've been doing for a little bit, and Jeremy, the guide again, was turning the boat, and he just took down that lure on the turn, and rod loaded up, set the hook, and then bunch of weight. As soon as we got up over the top of that fish, and then the fight began. You reel them up about 4 or 5 feet, and then go back down. She'd go back down. Really, we played that game back and forth. That rod was loaded up, doubled up the whole time. Even pulled the boat around in a little circle for a little bit, and then again we got the net out, were able to net that fish, and the hoot and holler and high fives began, and it was incredible.
Did you
But we caught another 8 or 9, not quite that big, but in the 40-inch class. It was unreal.
Did you do some hooting and hollering out on the lake?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. You guys made them out of harvest. Yeah. The first night we got a little wild, but hey, we caught 4 over 40 the first night of night fishing in about an hour and a half period. We had boated 4 over 40, so we were just we were fresh off the plane, so we were in vacation start now mode, and then to have that happen on the first night, we've been talking about it nonstop. It's just been unreal.
Well, Blake, thanks for coming up, and thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much for having me. It was incredible. Thank you.
Now is the time to start thinking about chasing big walleyes on Devil's Lake. Get on the fish at Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Haybale Heights makes it easy for you to make memories on legendary Devil's Lake with guided fishing and lodging packages. Or bring your own boat and rent one of their cabins on East Bay. Haybale Heights offers a private marina, fish cleaning station, and the opportunity to relax and enjoy your bucket list trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. To book your trip, visit haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com.
This is Sporting Journal Radio. We're with guide Jeremy Hancock now here at Tazin Lake Lodge. Jeremy, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Not too bad. How's your summer been?
Oh man, it's been quite the season so far. It started off a little bit slower, but as the water temps warmed up, so did the fishing. Both pike and lake trout have both been hitting pretty good. The lake trout especially have been top notch in this last 2 weeks here. My last guys were interviewed there too, and Ron and Allie Sparks, and they put up some numbers there. And then my new guys here, Blake, I'm sure you guys just talked to him, and he's been crushing it. Same with his partner there, Steve.
It was kind of crazy the last 2 weeks, like the amount of fish you guys put in the boat.
Like, honestly, for big fish fishing, it wasn't big fish fishing. Like, we were putting in full days most of the time, but some of those days we were popping 3 over that 30-pound mark. Days we had a night where we were out there for 3 hours and we had 4 fish over 41 inches. So
it's crazy. And you got them dialed in for sure. There's no question. You've been guiding up here for a few years now. You're from Saskatchewan. Played some hockey growing up.
Yeah.
Loved to fish.
Yeah.
When did you decide you wanted to be a fishing guide?
Well, I kind of sat down with one of my good buddies, Nate Suter there, and he's a fishing guide up at Plumbers Lodges, and he recommended it as a summer position. He said, you're not going to find something that's more up our alley, and it's just incredible. It's all he hyped it up to be and more. I'm very thankful for the opportunity. It's a lot of fun. It's an amazing summer gig.
When you started here 3 years ago at Tazin?
Yeah, this year would be my 3rd summer. Yeah.
3rd year. What did you think when you got here the first time and started guiding?
Man, well, my first ever lake trout here. Trevor, honestly, not too far around that corner, just there. Very first night, very first time on Tazin, and my very first lake trout was a 36-pounder. So, right there, I was pretty set on this place is quite incredible, and ever since it's just been getting better and better.
Yeah, sometimes people don't believe the pictures and the videos that we put out. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be haters out there, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, if you think the fish is big and your client thinks the fish is big, that's all that matters, right?
For sure. But you look at once you see these fish in person, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
there's a pretty big fish here.
Yeah, when you got her in that net and you're physically having to roll back with her, like you're pushing some weight there, for sure.
Why do you love to fish?
It's just, you never know. Like at the end of the day, it's just like, it's a surprise every time you hook up with what you're going to catch, and it just brings that thrill. And like for example, today, Steve, one of my clients here for the past 5 days, hooked into a pretty incredible fish on our last pass, and I didn't even have the pole, I didn't have nothing, and my heart was racing. I knew it was a big fish, but when you hook up and it's big, you just never know. Especially here, you never know what it's going to be. And it was an incredible fish, but yeah, it got my heart racing, gave me some butterflies.
You kind of had a theme with last passes the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know, that last pass magic. When you call that last pass, I don't know, it seems like those fish just, and if there's a hungry one around, it's coming to find that bait.
Because with Ron and Allie, I think you had like 5 big ones on the last pass, didn't
Yeah,
you?
I think we had 6 big fish total, and 5 of them came on a pass that I called last pass. So.
Well, it didn't work for us because last night we were out there fishing. We said, all right, Jeremy's been catching them on the last pass, so I'm calling this Jeremy's last pass. We didn't catch anything.
Oh, boy.
But
oh, sorry.
We should have had you in the boat, I guess.
Yeah, I guess maybe I had to be there.
We're going to hire you as a guide next year, I think. Dan kept saying, why am I not in Jeremy's boat right now since I was running the boat?
No, I'm not taking Dan. Look at him.
After you have fished for a while, and you've caught some big fish just yourself personally, and once you've done that, I mean, you always want to catch a bigger one, but there's a point too where whether you're guiding or not, seeing somebody else catch that big fish becomes just as fun for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's never really been a point in my life that I haven't been excited to see a big fish, right? I'd rather see a big fish in the boat than no big fish at all, but kind of the main turning point there is I got myself like an estimated 55 pounder, and kind of ever since then I don't get much of a rush. I get probably more of a rush seeing a client get their first big lake trout than I do catching a big one myself. Obviously I'd love to get a bigger one than that 55, but I think that was the main turning point on when I really really just turned and would much rather a client catch their biggest lake trout or their biggest pike compared to me. Brings me more joy than any fish I could catch there.
That's probably number one when it comes to like the guiding aspect of what you enjoy, but also going to a body of water like Tazin, or really, going to any lake for that matter, but especially coming to this one, which unmapped, a kind of uncharted turf. I know this lodge has been here since the 60s or whatever it's been. But really, we didn't map this lake until, I think it was 2019, we first started getting actual mapping units here where we could see some of the structure in this lake. And once you see, I mean, even this week, for me, you maybe knew about it longer, but, I started mapping a piece of structure that I'd fished around it, but I'd never put a detailed map of that area together. And once I saw that thing come to life, it's like, oh. And you can start putting those puzzle pieces together and be like, okay, that's why that fish is hanging out there. That's why that fish is there. And we're talking on this lake, when you look at the hills, the 300-foot tall hills, you get some of that same structure underwater. So you might see a ledge that drops off all of a sudden 80 feet. Like, to me, that's insane.
Yeah. The structure of this lake is unmatched. Like, most of our big fish spots come from, they'll be nice 100-foot flats, 70-foot flats, and then in a blink of an eye, you'll be trolling on that and you'll drop off into 150, 160 feet. And lots of that shoreline, like you said there, like you mentioned, whatever you see above ground on the rock face is usually what you're going to find above. So our structure is unmatched, and like you said, the mapping is game changer for being able to figure out these fish and figuring out like where they're hanging on and where the bait's pushed into. Because basically, from what you can find is taking our fish or our spots that we know have caught big fish and finding structures like that in there most of the times holding big fish.
That's crazy. What are you seeing, Dan?
There's a moose over there.
Oh, that just happens to be a moose across the lake right now.
I can't see it now.
Oh, I think I see it maybe in the left side of that grassy bay over there. So there's a bay right across from the lodge here, and we normally see a lot of moose each year up here, and this year it's been a little different because there was a wildfire a couple years ago on the west end of the lake, and it pushed all the animals over to this side of the lake or to the middle part of the area here. And now that there's fresh growth, I think it's attracted a lot of them back. So we haven't seen as much, but we did see a moose the other day. There's been a handful of moose sightings. Trevor saw like a bear cub swimming across the lake the other day, which was wild. And now, Dan, a lot of times our moose sightings are while you're sitting on the deck here at the lodge, just looking across the lake, and Dan just sewing across the lake. That's pretty cool. What's your weirdest wildlife or your coolest wildlife experience here, Jeremy?
This was my first summer here, and it was later August, mid to later August. We were fishing for pike, and came around the corner, and there was a giant, like probably roughly 55 to 60 inch bull, full velvet, up to his chest deep in water, and we sat there and watched him for 15 or 20 minutes, and I bet you it wasn't 30 minutes later, one of my clients caught a 48-inch pike. So it was basically not far from where we had seen the moose. So.
That's crazy. That is pretty nutty, but I think what you did with Ron in your boat the other day kind of qualifies as a wildlife experience, one that I've never heard of before.
Yeah, we might have to mention that one as well. So I don't know what it is, but the other day with Ron, we were trolling. I'm sure you guys have seen him on Tazin TV. They're a large burbot lure, and we were trolling it. We were coming across a 100-foot flat when all of a sudden Ron like hooked up, or what looked to be hooked up, and I got in the motor and no head shake, and I'm like, well, I don't know. It's like, it's heavy, so it's like, I'm like, just keep the tension on it. Like, it could come alive. We don't know. Anyways, we get to inside 100 feet there, and he's like, okay, just reel it in, man. It's obviously just a tree or something. So I crank in his rod there, and I'm like, it's a bone. Oh my God, what? It's a bone. And I grab this thing, and it's a moose leg. It's the front quarter of a moose, just the bone and some of the fascia and cartilage. Anyways, we turn around. Next pass, he hammers a nice, beautiful, I can't remember for sure, but 42-inch lake trout. And I was like, man, I got to keep this in my boat. And I don't know if the luck's just been rolling or what's been going on, but that moose leg or something's up, because we've been catching some big fish.
That's probably what it was. I've been trying to catch a moose leg all week just to try to capture that magic.
I don't know. That thing brought me some luck the last week and a half here, because ever since it's been in my boat, the fishing on those big fish have been good.
That's crazy. Well, you also spent time guiding with Barry Prowl over at Trails End this spring. You did some fishing guiding over there, also some bear guiding. Have you ever bear guided before?
I never bear guided before, no. Even walleyes, anything like that. This is trophy lake trout and pike have been the only stuff I've ever guided, so
okay.
that hunting was a different experience for sure, and I definitely enjoyed it. And his lodge there is beautiful. The guests that came up this season were amazing. So. Well,
I think you're kind of a fish hound, because it sounded like the fishing was unreal well for the bear hunters this spring there too. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Barry and I both we were on them this spring. We had I don't want to say exact numbers, but we had handful to a good dozen in the 30-inch mark, and that's just fishing a few mornings each morning before they go out to the stands. So.
Well, let me ask you one last question here before we cut you loose, Jeremy. What's your favorite thing about Tazin?
Obviously the big fish, but the company and the scenery is pretty hard to beat. You're not going to catch a big fish every group, but the views and the company will always be great. So that's probably the number one thing.
That's awesome. Jeremy Hancock, great season, man. Keep it up to finish out strong, and thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Bret.
If you want to catch a big walleye, go where the big walleyes are. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world, with a variety of resorts and lodging facilities offering full-service fishing. Lake of the Woods is also home to sturgeon, sauger, perch, trophy pike, muskie, smallmouth bass, burbot, and more. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods today. Go to lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com. Joe Henry joins us now from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing good, you guys. Welcome home.
Welcome home to you as well. I want to talk about your trip down to Florida and ICAST and what you saw down there. But first, let's talk about the MTT tournament up at Lake of the Woods. There was some nice fish caught.
Between following the results, online, and they had live weigh-ins and stuff, and then seeing the results, and then seeing the MTT folks, the relevant folks down at ICAST in Florida. Boy, I'll tell you what, was it a tournament? And think about this one. I mean, the winning bag of fish. 5 walleyes for over 55 pounds. That's an 11-pound average. And, I have to remember exactly the results because it was 2 one-day tournaments, but I'm pretty sure one of the days, Bret, if you and I would have been out fishing, and if we would have weighed 50 pounds, a 10-pound average, I think we might have been 6th place or something. I don't know. I mean, it was crazy. Just really, wouldn't that be depressing in a way?
You have the best day of fishing in your life, and you may have ended up not even in the top 10. It's insane.
I'll tell you. And I have friends that are that represent other bodies of water. They're guides on other body of water. I certainly, I fish a tournament on Lake Erie. I got great friends on Lake Erie, which is a incredible fishery. But boy, I'll tell you what, it's pretty hard. I had some pros tell me this at the ICAST. Right now, you'd be hard pressed to find a lake spitting out bigger walleyes than Lake of the Woods. Right now, I think we got a a trophy fishery that's pretty dang special.
Yeah, and you would have felt bad watching me catch all those fish in front of you too, Joe, while we were up there.
Well, listen, you know, when you're fishing a team event, I have no problem being a professional.
Yeah, right. Well, what else are you hearing about Lake of the Woods these days, Joe? Sounds like fishing's obviously pretty good.
Fishing is still really good. I mean, there's a lot of fish in the lake, right? The lake's healthy, and obviously that's the catalyst to everything. But charter boats and private boats are going out and just still getting their limits of fish and then some. And, you know, still some jigging going on. I mean, this is late for jigging. Normally jigging is kind of a June thing, and then things really transition to pulling spinners and pulling crankbaits in July and August and into September, and then jigging kind of kicks in again. Well, I tell you, for some reason this year, people are still jigging with really, really good success. So, and they're also pulling spinners and pulling cranks right now at the same time with success. So it's you can catch them all three different ways. And, you know, we got a variety of different things going on in the lake. You know, some of those fish are over the deep mud. A lot of them are. That's kind of traditional. You got some fish that are popping up in different parts of the lake because of bug hatches coming out of the mud. But overall, I'll tell you what, fishing's been good. A lot of eaters. You know, those trophy fish, we're catching one here and one there. The MTT anglers, they're targeting them with live scope. And if you're a listener, you know, the tournament thing has really changed. I mean, it used to be you'd go out there and you probably wouldn't jig them this time of year realistically. You'd pull spinners, or most of the tournament anglers would pull great big crankbaits emulating a tulipy, which is, you know, the main forage for a large walleye in Lake of the Woods. When a walleye, it takes a walleye about 10 years to go from, you know, 0 to 25 inches. And then it takes another 10 years for that walleye to go from 25 inches to 30 inches, but it doubled in size because a 25 incher is 5 pounds and a 30 incher is 10 pounds. So, and the kicker is when they turn about 25 inches, they really, really start focusing a lot of their diet on those tulipies. And that's why you'll catch a lot of the trophy walleyes out in no man's land and big traverse bays, because that's where the no man's land, the big open water, is where the tulipies live. And the other thing we're seeing with the tournament angling with the live scopes or the forward-facing sonar, there's lots of different brands of them, I guess, but with Humminbird and with Lowrance as well as Garmin. But you know, when these anglers are using that, they're using that technology so effectively. They're learning how to use it. A lot of the boats will have two units on, if not three. They have big screens so they can really magnify what's going on under the water, and they're just good at it. You know, they drive around very fast looking for those big fish. They might go an hour without seeing any big fish, maybe 2 hours. But once they find a big fish, they usually stay on it, and they try to stay, about 50 feet or so off of it so they don't spook it, and they cast to it. Usually they're casting a jig and a crawler, sometimes a jig and a leech or a jig and a plastic. Sometimes it's more of a jig and wrap type of lure, and there's other baits they can use too. And it's They can stay away from the little 25 and 26 inch fish and target the great big fish they see, which they think are the 28, 29s, and 30s, and that's what's happening.
That's pretty amazing. And we talked about it last week, Dan. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but there was a tagged walleye that was caught in one of these tournaments, and It just goes to show you how catch and release works, and to me, how the future of fishing tournaments is going to be catch and release. And I know we could debate the excitement of a weigh-in all day long, but if we're talking about the health of a fishery and the health of the resource, I think catch and release is the way of the future. And there was a tagged walleye, and it was, how big was it, Dan? 30, 33 or something? Or
I don't remember.
32? I'm trying to look it up here, but it had been caught. It was caught by an angler, and it was tagged. Gosh, I'm going to butcher the story, but it had gone from, say, 29. I think it was tagged by the DNR, and like 8 years ago or something like that, as a 29 incher, and then caught this year as a 33 or something like that. So we're talking, 7-8 years of growth from 29, and still grew. Almost a half inch a year, whatever it was. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was an impressive amount of growth after it already had been a 29 inch walleye. So the fact that it had lived, and I think it was maybe caught one other time in the middle there somewhere, but it's pretty impressive how some of those big walleyes, if they have the right conditions, they don't necessarily, some of them top out at 28, 29 inches, but some of them with the right conditions and some safe fish handling methods, things like that, can continue to grow into that low 30s range.
Yeah. 100%. And, and we always talk about, why is Lake of the Woods a trophy walleye factory? Well, you got a few things playing. Number one, you got the right gene pool. You have to have the right genes. I fish some tournament lakes that, let my little dog get down now. But I fished, tournaments on lakes that if you catch a big walleye in that lake, it's a 26 or 27 incher. They just don't have the huge 32s, 33s, they just don't have them. It's not in the gene pool. So Lake of the Woods has the right gene pool. We have the toolabies. The DNR will tell you when you have a trophy pike lake or a trophy walleye lake, oftentimes you have a healthy population of toolabies that go along with that. And then on top of it, we have such a variety of forage. So if we have 10 sources of forage for walleyes, and for some reason 4 of them are having a tough year this year, we got 6 different sources of forage to fill the void. So those fish can always be healthy, can always be eaten. You're not going to get real skinny walleyes ever on Lake of the Woods. Knock on wood, we haven't had it yet. And I think the other thing is to keep in mind is that we have that slot limit. 19 and a half inches to 28 inches, you have to release walleyes. You can keep one over 28 if you so desire. People that want to get them out oftentimes will get a graphite mount if they're over 28. But by letting those fish go that are 19 and a half to 28, if you're letting all the 24s, 25s, 26s go, imagine how much more of a chance you have for those fish to grow up to be 31s and 32s. So it all really plays into a trophy walleye factory. I think the other thing that's interesting about forward-facing sonar is, there's certainly haters on it. And, I posted a jigging video recently on social media, and I was just given some jigging techniques from Lake of the Woods, and I had my forward-facing sonar kind of sitting behind me. It's a portable unit I use for ice fishing, and of course I adapted to put it on a pole and on my boat in the summer. And I had it back there, and it was just kind of fun to have it on down view, so I could see what when fish are coming in and what their reaction was to the jig, and it was just very interesting to watch it. Boy, I tell you, right off the bat, there's some haters on social media, just slamming me.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned in the comments, I said I certainly didn't need, forward-facing sonar to catch these fish. We were spot locked and didn't move, and put 2 limits in the boat pretty quick when we filmed. But it was fun watching it. It was entertainment. It was interesting. I'm fascinated at fish behavior. Just incredible.
Yeah.
One of the things that these anglers that are catching these big walleyes will tell you is that if you're on no man's land, 30 to 35 feet of water, a lot of those fish are coming 5 or 10 feet below the surface. Well, Brett, back in the day when I was fishing the MTT, I'll tell you what, I'd go out and catch those big fish one day, and the next day you'd go to the same spot and those fish were nowhere to be found.
Right.
Really makes me think if those fish had really left, or they were simply up in the water column and we didn't know it.
Yeah, and we did some trolling recently, Dan and I, and one way I like to use it is I point my live scope forward, and if we're fishing some varied structure and I want to stay on a certain contour, or I want to go around some structure, I just, I'm not even looking for fish, but I'm using that forward-facing sonar to know where the breaks are, so I can avoid it and try to keep what I'm trolling with at the right depth. So if I'm looking for snags, or if I'm looking for, shallow water, like some of the structure we were doing, you'd see 10 to 20 foot, all of a sudden cliffs that go straight up. And I don't want to troll into that because I'm going to get snagged and break off. So I'd use my live scope to go around that. And I just wanted to back up 1 second too, because I just found the story. It was a tagged walleye in 2015. And it actually was caught in a tournament this year. And when it was tagged in 2015, it was 29 to 30 inches. And here we are 10 years later, and it was 32 inches this year. So in 10 years. What's that?
What body of water?
St. Louis River.
St. Louis River, okay.
Yeah. So it grew 2 to 3 inches in the last 10 years. So that's pretty amazing. And that just goes to show that putting that, when people say, oh, you killed that 29 incher to put on the, or, somebody kills a 29 to 30 incher to put on the wall, and they say, well, it's at the end of its life. Well, this just goes to show that it might grow another 2 to 3 inches, might take 10 years, but it might grow a few more inches.
I'll tell you, it's kind of a little bit of a fable. I work pretty close with the DNR biologists, especially up at Lake of the Woods. And, they tell me that, when you get a big walleye, there's some real big walleyes that they have that big head, that real dilapidated body. And, those fish certainly on their way out. But those great big fish that you're seeing in the MTT or the fish donkey photos from that tournament, those are great big walleyes with big shoulders and massive bodies. And those big females, not only do they lay more eggs than a normal sized walleye, but their eggs are larger. And that's important because, number one, you're preserving that big fish gene into the system. And number two, when they lay their eggs, if you get a blast of cold water, what those eggs really need after being fertilized, they need warm water, and then they turn into little walleyes and they move on with their life cycle. What happens is if you get real cold water and it never warms up, in fact, sometimes you get cold rains and stuff and it gets colder, those eggs, they can eventually die. So what that little embryo walleye does is it lives on that yolk sac until the water warms up. Well, by having those big eggs, that embryo can live more days if the water's cold, ultimately giving it a better chance of life. So there's a lot of advantages to those big walleyes laying their eggs.
Joe, we should talk a little bit about ICAST since you're home now, but you spent a few days down there in Orlando. How did the trip go?
What a great deal. I tell some of my friends, every year I go, geez Louise, going down to Orlando in July, I got so much to do. And you know what, as a destination, should I really be going down there? It's the biggest fishing trade show in North America. And, every year I go, I'm happy I went, and I get a lot of value out of it. You're rubbing elbows in making relationships and building further relationships with key stakeholders in the fishing industry. And that's everything from, media people to pro anglers to people that run tackle companies. And I ran into, I had breakfast with some friends from Outdoor News who I exchange emails with all the time, never have a chance to see them. So where do I see them? I see them down at ICAST in Florida. I saw Linder Media, Midwest Outdoors, John Bergsma of Fisherman's Digest I just filmed with. I saw the guys from Relevant who just were up at Lake of the Woods for a tournament. Saw lots and lots of pros I never get to see. Other people from the industry that you see once in a while, maybe at a trade show, but so all those relationships, in my case, on behalf of Lake of the Woods, all those relationships are very important to our area. Some of those companies will come up and film commercials at Lake of the Woods or film a TV show promoting their products on Lake of the Woods. Every little bit of it is value. And every time I go, Bret, I'm happy I went. And this case is no different. Last night, I just actually flew back this morning from Orlando. It's amazing how the world works, right? I was in Orlando this morning, and here I am now in Minnesota. But, I had dinner last night with 13 other people, actually. We had 14 total, but 13 other AGLOW members, Association of Great Lakes Outdoor Writers members, who are all in their own right really, really accomplished professionals. And have an opportunity to rub elbows with those folks, share ideas. Some of the media that I was eating dinner with, I hardly ever see, and they want to come up and do some stories on Lake of the Woods. And it's just, the whole thing is good, Now, was the weather hot and thunderstorms and humid, and you spend most of your time inside, and you're working, right? You're after it. And, well, I was only down there 2.5 days, so it wasn't a long trip, but it was a very good trip.
It's fun to network for sure at that place, and seeing all the AGLOW friends, of course, is always a good time. I'm sure there were some discussions about the annual conference that's going to be coming up in September in Eau Claire. Did you see?
It's kind of cool. I had a chance to they have this deal. Bret, you've been down there on the water, and I saw Josh Lance of St. Croix had a chance to go to use the latest St. Croix rods and reels and make a few casts out in this this big pond that's right by the Orange County Convention Center. Had a chance to see Luke from Pradco and Lindy, and Luke used to be a guide up at Zipple Bay Resort, and now he's in that part of the fishing industry. And I saw the guys from Reed Sports, and I can just go on and on. Just lots and lots of professionals from the fishing industry. I saw Frank from Niagara Falls. He was down there, and AGLOW's going to Niagara Falls for their annual conference in 2026. So I just lots of great connections. Kevin Paulson, the executive director of AGLOW, was down there. We hung out quite a bit. Just I can go on and on, but it just really good group of people that are kind of pulling the same direction. And you know what? That ultimately helps Lake of the Woods.
Sure. What about products? Did you see anything down there that you said, oh, I got to try this on Lake of the Woods this summer?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so as a media member, I had the opportunity to go to the new product showcase and actually vote on, what I thought the top products were. And, some of the things I saw, I mean, it was interesting seeing the screens get bigger for electronics, lots of tungsten. This isn't new, but, Lindy has that bismuth. They use that BMAX, they call it. Some of the plastics coming out were very unique. Somebody told me about a jig head that holds on a plastic that instead of having the holder on the top of the jig head, when you put that plastic on, it's on the sides of the jig head. And the reason for that is that when a walleye bites down on it, it will have less of a chance of feeling that little hook that holds that plastic on. Some of the baits, they're so lifelike. Everybody's trying to come up with a better mousetrap. It's hard to evaluate the new lines that come out because we didn't have a chance to use them and cast with them and use them on a reel. But new technology. It was, what else I see? It was cool. Rapala had kind of a cool, those great big crankbaits they had that you can hang on a wall. Oh, yeah. They had a new crankbait that was red, white, and blue, like American flag. That was kind of neat, kind of a Patriot theme. And I think Rapala won an award for a hard bait I saw. Gosh, it had
the Claptail 110.
What is it?
The Claptail 110.
Yeah, that's what it was, Danny.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list right now.
I don't know if it shows it, but it's on that fishing wire. It was in that. There you go. Look at that lure. Isn't that interesting? And those the Rapala Magnum Countdown Elites, I think those are probably for more ocean fishing. And if you want to scroll through a little bit, Danny, I mean, some of that stuff is hard to know. It looks cool, but you don't get a chance to try it. Obviously, at Columbia, a neat looking backpack, and there are some real nice, rainwear, shorts, waders. There's a VMC minnow shaker jig. So much is coming out now that's tungsten, right? Because of the forward-facing sonar. There's some really neat looking, even just little battery packs that you can bring with you fishing, so you can charge all your electronics, your cameras, and everything. So much. I mean, so much. And some of the kayaks. Oh my gosh, these kayaks now. They got this. There's that crankbait I was telling you about.
Yeah. Click on that one once, Dan.
Isn't that neat? Well, that's something you put on a wall. That's not a real crankbait.
Oh, all right.
I like how they make a DT version of the Magnum crankbaits now. That's hilarious. For all those bass guys.
That's why they call it giant. But no, it just some of the kayaks they have now, the electronics. Of course, Strike Master came out with a new auger. Says it's most powerful, battery operated in the market. They had. Brett, you probably know what these are. They had a lot of those real nice speakers that are portable speakers that are waterproof.
Turtle box.
Yeah, what are they? Turtle box?
Turtle box.
Yeah, turtle boxes. Yeah, they had those all around. In fact, they were promoting stuff. They had Relevant. It was kind of fun to see the Relevant folks down there. They sponsored the MTT, or they own the MTT, I guess. But they were down there, and I was talking to Pat Calmerton and Thane Jensen and Jim and some of those guys, but their lenses on their glasses. I was like, are these plastic? Are they glass? No, they're most similar to a helicopter. Yeah. Bubble. And
Thane just got hired by Relevant too. Actually, just joined the team over there.
Over where?
At Relevant,
showing off my relevance.
Yeah, they did. Yep. And those are, it's funny, Dan, because, they got a lens that's easier to read your electronics from different angles. And of course I wanted one that if I'm doing some filming, it wasn't too reflective for the camera. And of course they knew which lens I wanted. They got so many different kind of lenses. They get reflective, different colors and different style frames, like a lot of the sunglass companies do. But this is I tell you what, I've heard good things about the Relevant, and I had a chance to try some on and look at them, and boy, they were neat. So just a lot of neat stuff, man. Rapala had a lot of new offerings out, trying to think if there's anything else that really blew me away. I did see there was a company down there from the Montana that was similar to a jaw jacker. That's the name I know for an automatic hook setting device. And they had created one that's more stable, it's less cost, and they're down there, just a couple, trying to introduce it to the fishing industry. And of course, I'm pretty sure that the laws have they thought the laws had changed in Minnesota so that in about a year and a half, not this next winter season, but I think in March of 26, you're going to start being able to use jaw jackers now, or the automatic hook setting devices on the ice, I should say.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I can't remember. I thought maybe that they were going to make them legal too, but I don't see anything quite yet.
So I don't know that happened. I know there was discussion of it. They thought the law had passed in Minnesota, but again, they were from Montana and they weren't sure. But just things like that. Here you got a family. They're not young. These people had started their own thing. They started building them. They're selling them to local bait shops. And they said, you know what? I think there's more to this. And we've got the right idea. We've tried to take other products and take the mistakes out of them and manufacture this thing in a way that it's all American made. And boom, awesome. Here we are, at ICAST trying to get some notoriety, trying to get it in different distribution corners,
Well, I'm just reading an article on the Outdoor Feed, actually, from Scott Mockentune about ice fishing changes. And according to this, still potential approval for that in the 26th season. But I don't know if we may not hear about it for a while yet, but it sounds like they're probably going to do it. But okay. March 26th, it'll probably be the same time we get the app in Minnesota, Dan.
So
never.
Like my grandkids will get to use them?
Or something like that. All right, Joe.
Yeah, you're so positive, brother.
I tried to be. I was so excited for that e-licensing thing, and here we are. Every other state and province I seem to go to, it doesn't have a problem with it, but here we are.
Well, imagine if you're the DNR and you're trying to put your best foot forward and you get this egg on your face. And, people take shots at the DNR every chance they can anyway. In some cases, maybe deservingly so. In many, many cases, undeservingly so.
For sure.
And then you have this app that's a little bit of a faux pas for your agency right now. And darn well you're getting flack from it.
Well, it's pretty typical for Minnesota government. I mean, look at anything. I feel like with websites or computers or any changes for that matter, it seems like it takes them a couple of years to actually do it. There's always delays, and I mean that MNLARS. How long did we have to wait for that to actually get figured out? So I'm sure they'll get it.
Not have a good track record in Minnesota on all of that stuff, and we have wasted billions of dollars on it, and just lost consumer confidence too.
Yeah. For sure. It's not good. All right, Joe, we'll let you go. But thanks for the update from ICAST and Lake of the Woods, of course. And if people want to plan a trip to Lake of the Woods, what should they do?
Check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.